stands for the unknown, because we were enslaved. The names were taken from us. We took on the name. We were given the names of our former slave masters. It has continued on. And so when Malcolm began to learn the beauty and greatness of himself, in Islam, they taught the nation Islam, they give you an X to until you got a name. So Malcolm was given the name El Hassan al-Shabazz, but he used Malcolm X because that made people knew of the X. So the X simply stands for the unknown, and it says we don't know our names. We don't know the languages in which we speak because we were brought here enslaved against our will. And so if you read history, you know, they went throughout Africa. These were different tribes and things that didn't even understand each other, but they had to adapt to a new way of life. And so we took on names and we took on traits of the same people who enslaved us. That's not me preaching hate. That's a fact. You know, and so I would say this to people. You know, I love people. I think I am very sociable, but I'm a very passionate person as well. And I love the beauty of my blackness of who I am. That doesn't make me anti-anybody else. And that's what I said against Malcolm. He was like anti-anybody. I'm the first people that knew him. I got a chance to know Dick Gregory, who was friends with Malcolm X. I got a chance to know a man by the name of A. Peter Bailey, who I think is still living. And he's probably east on 100 years old. And the one thing that I got from both of them, they said Malcolm X was one of the most genuine human beings I knew. But when the cameras came on, he had a message. And his message was to black people to stand up. Hold your shoulders back. Be strong. And not make yourself submissive to what you see going on around you. People trying to tell you you're less than, you're a second-class citizen. You know? So I hope that answers the question. Anybody else?
Did he have a family?
Yes, he did. Malcolm X had 6 daughters. Six daughters. And so one of the things that one of the most gratifying and scary experiences I had, I got a chance to perform with Malcolm X in the very place he was assassinated. And in the front row was his family members. And 3 of the daughters, I knew one of them I knew I met before. And I'll be honest with you, when I first met her, I had a crush on her. I had a crush on her. And, you know, it's funny how things happen. She saw me do she wrote a book. This was his third oldest daughter. Her name was Ilyasha Shabazz. And she wrote a book with her father called Growing Up X. She talks about when she was in college, a lot of people were expecting the second coming of her father. And she was more low-key. And Malcolm was an educator too. People don't give him the credit for that, but he was an educator who educated himself in prison. And so she's real heavy into her education. She said she went through a lot of pressure because people were expecting her to be her dad. You know, and I met her a couple of times. And so she was in the front row with 2 other daughters who were born after their dad was killed and other family members. And so after I came from behind that podium, I'm getting to a round of applause. People were like, oh my God, you sound like him, you look like him. Thank you. I went to the front table where they were at. That was the most exciting and scary. And one lady grabbed me by my face and she's talking about the likeness. And that's when I sat down my hair ready and I was younger. And so when I got that from them, because Malcolm was a very revered figure in our community, and I've heard some naysayers because they're very passionate about Malcolm. But when I got the validation from the family, nobody can tell me nothing. I felt like nobody can tell me nothing because I got validation from his family. And that elevated my confidence level to an all-time high. And so I love what I do. You know, I've been doing this for a long time. It's funny. I did a show last week to an affiliate of this center. And I told the guy, I just want to do a lecture and do some of my poetry. And so I came wearing regular clothes, not a jacket and tie. And some people were like, not to the jacket and tie, not to the jacket and tie. So what I've learned from that experience was every time I stand behind this podium, people are expecting Malcolm X. And so, and my wife told me the same thing, no, you need to wear the jacket, tie, and glasses. And so I said, okay, let's learn. Anybody else?
Thank you very much.
All right, well, appreciate you all got your attention, and I hope that maybe you got a little something out of it. You know, so, but if you question anything, one thing I will say that you can't trust everything on YouTube, but what I do, my hopes is to generate enough interest or want to find out more information for yourself. Because Malcolm X is someone worthy to study. As well, I got books right there. I got books. I got some of my poems. Hold up a book right there. This is a book that I wrote during the pandemic. And this is called The Journey in Becoming Malcolm, because it was a journey in training Malcolm X. So I remember in talking about how some people are I remember one time I was performing, and a guy said, the way you train Malcolm X, you know, it sounds more like Dr. King like. And I said, well, brother, that's your opinion. I said, if you don't like what I do, get your AWS on stage and give me your version of it. But you probably ain't got enough courage to do so. But anyway, that's what this book's about. My journey in becoming Malcolm. When the first major play I did was a play about what would happen in Malcolm X and Dr. King joined the force. I want to acknowledge this brother right here. He plays Dr. King right here. We performed together before. He plays Martin Luther King in this play that we've been working on called Meetings, about what happened. Those two forces come together. You know, this guy said, and this guy was critical of my performance. And I always say this: when Malcolm was assassinated in 1965, he was going through a transitional period in his life. Just like all of us do. We aren't the same as we were 10 years ago, 20 years ago. If you are, some as well. You want to be able to evolve in life. And so when I write my stories, everything I write is an original. I envision how I think he would respond to certain things. And that's why I gave my opinions of Donald Trump. Those were my opinions. That's what they were. Maybe disagree or disagree. But that's all they were. And so I told the folks here, I said, well, if people are sensitive about my political or social views, then maybe they don't want to come and see me. So I'm going to always bring it in the spirit of Malcolm. So with that said, God bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you.